So the BRAVIA 8 Mark II is positioned as a replacement for the A95L, but only at the 55 and 65 inch screen sizes. But at 77 inches, the A95L remains in the lineup for 2025, and that means that the BRAVIA 8 Mark II is the flagship OLED TV at 2 screen sizes and probably third in the product hierarchy listings. Confused? Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. I'm Phil Hinton and today we're delving into a TV that's generated quite a bit of buzz, the Sony BRAVIA 8 Mark II. Now, that naming might be a little bit confusing, but what really matters here is the picture quality, and let me tell you, this TV delivers. Now, like all our reviews on AVForums, this one is unbiased, honest, and of course completely independent. Our reviews are never sponsored. We want to give you the real lowdown so you can always trust our recommendations and advice. And if you want to deep dive into all of the calibration, graphs, measurements and technical analysis that backs up this review video, then you can find the full written article over at avforums.com, which goes into a lot more detail. We also want our video reviews to be accessible for everyone, whether you're a seasoned TV enthusiast or you're just someone looking for recommendations on what you should look out for when buying your next TV. I really do hope that these video reviews will help you out, and if they do, then please do like and subscribe to the channel. It means a lot. The BRAVIA 8 Mark II is a new QD-OLED TV from Sony, and it's a direct replacement for the rather outstanding A95L at the 55 and 65 inch screen sizes. The A95L is now approaching about 2 years old. Now, you might be thinking, is this Sony's new flagship? Well, not quite. The BRAVIA 9 Mini LED TV and the probably upcoming BRAVIA 10, which will likely be the RGB Mini LED TV that Sony has been showing off recently, they're probably the top two TVs. So the BRAVIA 8 Mark II is positioned as a replacement for the A95L, but only at the 55 and 65 inch screen sizes. But at 77 inches, the A95L remains in the lineup for 2025, and that means that the BRAVIA 8 Mark II is the flagship OLED TV at 2 screen sizes and probably third in the product hierarchy listings. It uses the very latest 4th generation QD-OLED panel, the same one that's found in the Samsung S95F, and it pairs this with the XR processor Gen 3, which gives it 25% brightness boost over the A95L. And while it might not hit the same peak brightness numbers as most of the rivals from Samsung, LG and Panasonic, its image processing and tone mapping are absolutely superb. And what does that mean for you? Well, it means that pictures look incredibly accurate, detailed and vibrant, especially with the HDR and Dolby Vision content. If you think of it like this, it's not about how bright it can go on paper, but how effectively it uses that brightness to deliver a stunning, nuanced image. Specular highlights, those really bright points in the picture, look fantastic, and it maintains detail even in challenging scenes. We're talking excellent calibrated colour accuracy, class-leading video processing and upscaling that makes this an excellent choice for those looking to watch movie content as it was supposed to be seen. This makes the lack of screen size bigger than 65 inches a bit of a shame. Sound-wise, the BRAVIA 8 Mark II uses Sony's Acoustic Surface Audio Plus technology, where the screen itself vibrates to create the sound. This means that dialogue comes directly from the actors on screen, and this makes it a really immersive experience. It's great for everyday viewing, and it supports Dolby Atmos and DTS audio codecs, which I know a lot of you will be happy at. For the smart TV, we get Google TV, which also supports all of your favourite UK catch-up services like BBC iPlayer. The menu system is also intuitive to use, and it has all the adjustments required to perfectly calibrate the image. The remote is also made from recycled plastic, it fits neatly in the hand and is very easy to use. For gamers, you're well catered for with two full bandwidth HDMI 2.1 ports supporting 4K 120, VRR and ALLM. Plus, if you have a PS5, it also has some really neat auto settings that make getting started a breeze, and input lag is good with 16.5 milliseconds for 4K 60 and 120Hz comes in at 7.9 milliseconds. Now, of course, this TV's not perfect. It's not as bright as its main competitors. It doesn't have an accurate filmmaker mode right out the box, as Professional follows a slightly different Judd offset white point, and there can be minor posterization seen in very specific HDR10 and Dolby Vision scenes. Plus, only two HDMI 2.1 ports might be a limitation for some of you out there. And again, the stand feet are positioned at the edge of the panel, and this requires you to have a wider than normal TV unit to place the TV on, although these can be raised like they are here to fit a soundbar underneath. But honestly, these are really minor points when you look at the overall picture. Excuse the pun. Let's get to the really interesting part. How does it stack up against the competition? I've had the chance to do some side-by-side comparisons with some of the best TVs out there, thanks to Peter Tyson, who supplied us with the LG G5 and Samsung S95F for long-term testing. And if you'd like to support our reviews here and the videos, then please do consider buying your next TV or AV purchase from Peter Tyson and tell them that I sent you. Thanks very much for your support. Well, the G5 is definitely brighter in some high APL scenes like the loading program in The Matrix. The Sony BRAVIA 8 Mark II offers more neutral and organic looks. The LG can look overly sharp, which sometimes makes the film grain look artificially noisy. And here's the big one. Where the LG G5 can crush black detail, the Sony BRAVIA 8 Mark II preserves more detail in those darker shadow areas, but it could also be accused of being a little bit too bright in the shadows. Next, the Panasonic Z95B, and both of these TVs are very close in terms of image processing and motion, with Sony perhaps having a slight edge for film content. The Panasonic can look slightly more dynamic in very bright scenes, however the Sony excels in high nit masters, matching the Panasonic in preserving specular highlight details and its tone mapping. What this means for you is that the BRAVIA 8 Mark II still manages to look incredibly dynamic, even if its measured brightness numbers are a little lower. However, Panasonic does all of that, and it has the extra brightness. Finally, the Samsung S95F, and this was a fascinating comparison as both TVs use the same QD-OLED panel. The Samsung is noticeably brighter. However, similar to the G5, the Samsung also tends to over-sharpen the image, overemphasizing film grain. The BRAVIA 8 Mark II is much more natural, and critically, it handles peak brightness details and specular highlights much better. The Samsung can clip details over 2000 nits, where the Sony still resolves them. Plus, Sony's video processing is better for that natural, organic picture quality and motion. So after all that, what's the summary of the picture quality? Well, the Sony BRAVIA 8 is a truly excellent SDR and HDR movie viewing TV. While some rivals are brighter, Sony's incredible tone mapping means it perceptually keeps up, offering superb specular highlight detail and image detail without any of the artificial sharpening or boosted colours. It just looks organic and natural with cinematic images that are incredibly accurate. The colour reproduction is superb, skin tones look natural, and its ability to retrieve HDR detail from the deepest blacks to the brightest highlights is pretty outstanding. It really proves that sheer brightness alone just isn't the thing that really matters here. So, should you buy the Sony BRAVIA 8 Mark II? Well, this TV really impressed me from the first time that I saw it back at Sony's launch in the UK in March. And the competition this year is incredibly intense, and we're talking about really minute differences between all of these top tier sets. The BRAVIA 8 Mark II might look dull on paper in terms of brightness compared to the others, but its balanced, nuanced and incredibly detailed image truly stands out. It's a TV that comes highly recommended. If you want to deep dive into all of the graphs, measurements and technical analysis that backs up this review, you can find a full written article over at AVForums.com. And that's it for this review of the Sony BRAVIA 8 Mark II. Don't forget to tell me all about it down below. What do you think? Is it the TV for you, or are you going to go for the LG G5 or the Panasonic Z95B or even the Samsung S95F? Or are you going to go for something completely different? Let me know in the comments below. Let's have a conversation down there. And don't forget to like and subscribe to this video for more in-depth reviews coming up very soon. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Phil Hinton, and I'll see you in the next one.